As scared as I am to do it, let's head inside. Oh, not a boss again. Thank goodness. These fiery lizards are aptly named salamanders. Our first experience with them leads us to our first lootable meltstone. Meltstone is actually not used to upgrade, but to de-level an already upgraded weapon into a non-upgraded state. In this salamander ambush lava well thingy, we pick up a shard of dragonstone. Dragonstone greatly increases the base damage of a weapon and adds fire damage, but it comes at the cost of removing all stat scaling from it. This makes it one of the more effective options for low-level playthroughs. This pit of fiery death is not the most inviting thing. There are items calling our name, but we'll have to resist the temptation. For now. The hot poker scale miners can gang up on you and hastily deplete your HP if you let them get near you, but our crescent weapon will see to that. Something pretty strange happened here. There are 2 scale miners in this passage that hold it back and drop a ton of ore. I killed the right one and neglected to pick up its loot before killing the left one so I could pick them both up in one swoop. But when I turned around to pick up the first one, it was gone. I figure it either fell through the floor or the loot of the right one consolidated into the left one. I've never known the game to do that with drops, though I might just be flat out wrong. This contraption is our first shortcut of the world, and it's a really useful one if you're having trouble with the next area inside. Instead of getting off at the beginning, we're going to ride the lift all the way down to the bottom and meet a new NPC.
I haven't seen you around these parts. What does it matter? You need a blacksmith? Show me some coin. If not, head straight for the door. I'm busy. I'm not here to chit-chat. Forging a weapon strengthens it, alters its character. Ores are transmogrified sprites. Their presence blesses the weapon.
Blacksmith Ed is the twin brother of Blacksmith Baldwin, the one who resides in the Nexus. Unlike his brother, however, he can upgrade weapons down more unique paths, while Baldwin can only upgrade down the regular, sharp, and quality weapon paths. We should definitely take this time and opportunity to repair our items.
All done? Let me gone. I'll work alone.
He's somehow even less friendly than his brother, if you can believe that, so we'll follow his demand and loot this body before heading back up. We will be back to talk to him again later, once we obtain a certain item in the world. Now see, I want to tell you that I got off at this point just to show you how the lift leads us back to the beginning, but the truth is that I got off for absolutely no reason. I'm just glad I realized my mistake quickly. Talk about your jump scares. That guy was way better than his 2 friends toward the beginning. something and probably fail miserably. There's a small piece of wood connecting to a platform with items on it. If you're fast enough, you can make it across and get the items, but if not, you're out of luck. And I was out of luck. The items aren't really of any use to us. It's just a great club, which is a very slow, high-strength weapon, and some consumable souls, if I recall correctly. Now we have to sprint all the way back, which luckily isn't too far from where we were slapped down to. This crystal lizard's intent was to push you into this small army of enemies over here, but it didn't do its job very well. It drops 4 shards and a single chunk of spider stone, which is used exclusively to upgrade bows. And I do mean just bows. Crossbows are exempt. Instead of trying to fight our way through all that nonsense, we'll go back the other way and find a secret passage behind these flammable barrels. This puts us high above them and gives us access to some crescent moon grass, a soul item, and a big ol' shield that my character couldn't hope to use reliably even in his most far-off dreams. It also supplies us with a route to completely bypass all of those scale miners should we want to, but we have a crescent falchion, so we don't want to. Yummy, yummy souls. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Yikes. 1 or 2 too many close calls for my liking. Salamanders are not to be trifled with when in numbers. World 2 is a lot less forgiving with its canine placement than the first world, that's for sure. It's just more scale miners, and those we can deal with. Our goal is the lever up ahead, right next to the drop-off point. I'm honestly a bit surprised at the placement of this lever. It has no prominent position whatsoever. If you ask me, I feel like the developer Ghost should have been turning this one instead of pulling the one from before, if they had to have one at all. Releasing the water reserve opens up a completely new path deeper into Stonefang Tunnel for us. expert on these kinds of things, but I'm not completely convinced that adding any amount of water to molten ore or whatever was here originally would make it completely dissipate and vanish out of existence. Happy to be able to loot these items with flesh intact, though. Flammable barrels as far as the eye can see, and at the room's end is the Flammable Barrel King. He's pretty good at tricking you given the extreme range of the barrel's explosions, but at the same time he's very rewarding to the player that remembers the Fat Official's ranged fire blast move and proceeds with caution as a result. Fat Officials always drop full moon grass, by the way. They can be a pretty decent source for farming. To the right we'll receive a surprisingly useful reward for breaking a couple of wagons. Question for you. What the hell was the scale miner's objective? It couldn't have been to hit us with that boulder, because even if we were sprinting at full speed, we would have been nowhere near it. And even then, after his initial attack fails, he throws all caution to the wind and leaps down dozens of feet to take us out one-on-one. Good bravado on his part, I guess, but it's too bad he couldn't back it up. Also, you may have noticed the cobwebs, specifically the large amount of them and the bodies trapped therein. Who wants to bet on what type of demon the next boss will be? Before taking the elevator to descend, we'll ascend to pick up the Kris blade, which is a weapon we won't be using, though it increases the damage of our spells. Basically, were we to use it in our left hand with our catalyst in our right, we would receive a roughly 5% increase in the damage dealt by our spell at the cost of 15% of our magic defense. Fully upgraded, the Kris blade adds a whopping 30% bonus damage at the cost of 40% of our magic defense, but the upgrade item required is special and hard to come by, so I'm electing to ignore it. A very welcoming fog door greets us at the bottom of the lift, but we'll head to the opposite side and follow this narrow tunnel for a chunk of spider stone first. Before we enter the door itself, we'll be casting Water Veil, as we'll be dealing with some fire damage. Armor Spider is a boss that can be extremely challenging to new players for the simple fact that it's at its biggest disadvantage when you're up close, and the battle begins when you're far away. It's rare to have the courage to run up to a boss on a first attempt like that, or at least it was for me. If the webbing that we narrowly avoided in our run up to it strikes true, it slows you down to a crawl and removes your ability to dodge roll. Couple that with his relentless fireballs and you'll be seeing a "you died" screen very quickly. This is why I sprinted up to it first thing. Its melee strikes are both weak and easy to dodge. The only thing to look out for is when he reels back and begins to charge a fiery glow from his jaws. This is a huge attack which has a range that actually extends over its duration. The safest way to avoid it is to sprint back to the fog door. Once it's over and done with, though, all you need to do is run up to it again. Once again, Flame Toss, I'm disappointed in you. That's okay. Meleeing bosses is more fun anyway. I just had to do a little celebratory dance. Though I was obviously aware of Armor Spider's weaknesses, that was still probably my best attempt ever. And it happened in this playthrough. Crazy stuff. Anyway, there's a soul and more spider stone for us to loot in the boss arena. Interestingly though, in addition to the boss's soul, we get pure spider stone, meaning we could fully upgrade a bow if we liked. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you back in the Nexus next time.